Tonight we're diving into the story, The Elevator Cryptid. Hit like and subscribe, and let's go. This is the scariest horror story about a cryptid that I've ever seen. This happened to a friend of mine when he was in college. He lived in an apartment complex that was built in the 1970s. The apartments were made with the cheapest materials possible: particle board, paneling, and they only had one elevator for the entire 8-story building. The stairs were an alternative, but most people used the elevator. It was also really slow, and it frequently broke down. One night my friend was coming home from a party and he was drunk. He got in the elevator and he was vaguely aware that someone else got in with him. It wasn't crowded or anything. There was plenty of room for more than 2 people. As the elevator started going up, he noticed that the fluorescent light was flickering. It was one of those big, old, ugly light fixtures that looked like something from a horror movie. And then the door started making this weird sound. He couldn't really see because his eyes were already drooping from the alcohol. But out of the corner of his eye, he saw something that made his blood run cold. Something was standing in the corner of the elevator. Something hunched over, almost like a person, but not quite. It was dark and shadowy, and whatever it was, it seemed to be breathing heavily, like it was exerting a lot of energy trying to get its bearings, taking small steps forward, then stopping and listening intently, then taking more steps. My friend stood frozen in fear as this thing moved slowly through the elevator. All he could do was watch as it shambled closer and closer. Then suddenly the lights flickered and died, plunging the elevator into total darkness. His heart was pounding in his chest as he heard the thing take another step toward him. Then he felt something wet and cold drip onto his foot. The thing had stepped on his foot. He screamed and stumbled backward, falling into the corner as he desperately tried to find the emergency button in the darkness. Something heavy and wet slapped against his leg and he cried out again as he felt something latch onto his pant leg and start pulling at it with what sounded like 1,000 tiny little hands. He finally found the emergency button, and as the elevator lurched to a halt and the door opened, he scrambled out, tripping over his own feet as he ran away. Once he got out, he never looked back. He didn't want to know what was down there. What was that thing? What did it want with him? And why did it only attack him when the lights were off? From that day on, he never rode the elevator at night. He took the stairs instead. But even the stairs weren't safe. Sometimes late at night, when he was climbing the stairs, he could hear the scratching and clawing coming from the elevator shaft. Whatever that thing was, it was lonely, and it wanted to come out and play. But it wasn't just in the elevator that strange things happened. Times in the middle of the night, he would wake up and hear what sounded like whispers in his apartment. At first he thought it was his neighbors, but when he checked, nobody was there. Then he started hearing other sounds, dragging metal moans, heavy footsteps in the hallway, and sometimes the distinct sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor right outside his door. It got so bad that he stopped sleeping during the night and spent his days in the apartment, watching horror movies and playing video games until night fell once again. One day he got so scared that he called the police and told them about all the strange things he'd been hearing and seeing. They came to his apartment and searched it, but they couldn't find anything. They told him that if it was happening, then it must be happening in his head, so he moved out and never looked back. He still doesn't know what was in that apartment or why it chose him. All he knows is that sometimes when you look in the elevator, you can see it in the corner of your eye, just barely. It's a tall, thin, hunched-over figure that shouldn't be there, that shouldn't exist. But it's always there waiting, hoping that someone will ride the elevator alone at night, so it can come out and play. Thanks for watching this chilling tale about the Elevator Cryptid. If that story gave you goosebumps, hit that like button and share it with your friends who love a good scare. You ever had a strange encounter in an elevator or heard weird noises in your apartment? Drop your stories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Stay safe out there, and maybe take the stairs next time. Subscribe for more chilling stories, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay spooky.